part of the solution. We are part of the solution. I am part of the solution. We are part of the solution. Africa, rise, rise, Papa Suka. Let us all rise, rise, Papa Suka. We are part of the solution. I am part of the solution. We are part of the solution. We are part of the solution. We are part of the solution.
We have been profiled negatively. The continent of disease, war, poverty. But we are stepping forward to say, look here, Africa is the continent with 60% of the world's renewable energy assets.
Addressing climate change in Africa, as President Ruto so forcefully articulated, is a moral and strategic necessity for global climate action.
It is imperative that as Africa, we prioritize investments in our research capacity to develop scientific publications to inform and guide global efforts to combat climate change.
We need to focus on human capital advancement by training our own people, especially youth, so as to be able to reap from these vast opportunities.
We must fully unlock Africa's renewable energy potential. That's why the African Development Bank is implementing a $20 billion Desert to Power program to harness the power of solar and deliver electricity for 250 million people.
By speeding up the transition to solar and wind power, energy sector jobs in Africa could double in a few years. And Africa could produce enough clean energy not only to power up your continent, but also to export abroad.
There was a phrase that Kai Kobarin Besen Kosir Kobarin Banan. I will explain to you what that means. There is Besen and there is Banan. Besen is death. Banan is poverty. So it is said in this community, if you must die, it is better to die of debt than to die of poverty. We don't want to die of debt, but we also don't want to die of poverty. That is why we must have a conversation around multilateral development banks and concessional financing and how we can finance our economies using resources that do not punish us.
We need a complete upgrade. In fact, we need a surgical intervention of the global financial architecture that was built for a completely different era.
And this means an international financial system that is able to provide an effective debt relief mechanism that supports payment suspensions, longer lending terms, lower rates.
Obviously, this reform must resolutely focus on the financial organs and structures, institutions which structure the universe, which operate far from Africa.
Developed nations must fulfill their commitment to provide financial and technical assistance to African countries. Adequate funding is crucial to support adaptation and mitigation efforts, improving structural resilience, and promote sustainable development.
In the long run, playing the blame game is not the answer. A more pragmatic approach is for Africa to be a key player in the search for global climate solutions.
We have therefore committed to conclude this summit with a declaration which will firmly encourage everyone to keep their promises, even in hard times, as a matter of justice, to hold each other to account, to collaborate, and to innovate. This African moment is a global moment. We are in word and deed full stakeholders in this global journey and its primary navigators at this stage.
Something is happening. This is different. I feel that. This is different. I think, Mr. President, I would just say to you, your leadership is palpable. We feel it. What you have said today, there is such a clear path ahead for all of us. Africa is meeting. Africa is speaking. Africa is deciding. And nothing could make a greater difference, I think, on a global basis.
Billions of young Africans are looking up to African leaders here to leave them with a promise, a visible promise, to make them feel that there is a future where they have hope to get green jobs, live a dignified life, and thrive.
Until the lion learned the art of writing, all stories glorified the hunter. I think we have learned the art of writing, and that is why we are going to write our own narrative. That is the continent that we belong to.
Part of the solution. We are part of the solution. I am part of the solution. We are part of the solution. Africa.